This is Kritika Satyamurthy from southern side of Tamil Nadu, and I belong to Ambattar or Ambattar community. This is a great opportunity to talk with Mr. Uday Sahe, was an IPS officer who took voluntary retirement in search of his North Star. He is a known communication consultant today, and he has authored 8 books so far. Having handled a series of districts in Delhi as DCP, he joined Prasar Bharati as Deputy Director General in Directorate of Information and Publicity, and as Additional Director General in the Organizing Committee of Commonwealth Games 2010. Since 2010, Mr. Sahe runs a communication consultancy company and runs a publishing house. In addition, Mr. Sahe is a wide photographer, and he held several photo exhibitions in India and abroad. So I think today I'm very blessed to interact with you, sir. And I have a curiosity to know about the Kayast books. Shall we start the interview, sir?
Oh, by all means. But before we start the interview, thank you very much, Kritika, for such a generous introduction. And let me have the privilege of introducing my interviewer, that is Kritika Satyamurthy, who is an illustrious teacher in Tamil Nadu in a place called Salem. And she has a deep interest in the research, legacy and heritage of her community, and that's how we connected. So I feel equally privileged to be interviewed by you, and this will be a great opportunity for us to interact through you, through your window, through the mind, through the window of your mind, to the community at large in Tamil Nadu. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So my first question, before starting the interview, I would like you to first share the basic facts about the books with our audience, sir.
Yeah, first thing first, facts are sacrosanct. So the book is called Kayast, an Encyclopedia of Untold Stories. It is what we call illustrious volume, which runs into 400 pages. It has a lot of photographs, it has a lot of illustrations, it has a lot of paintings and all kinds of medium which go into making in this book. In addition, the striking feature of the book is that most of the contributors are from the Kayast community belonging to different parts of the country. And whether they are illustrators, whether they are content creators, whether they are photographers, whether they are painters, they are from different sub-caste of the Kayast community, not only from the Hindi heartland, but also beyond. 2 important facts about the book. One was the revisiting the identity called Kayast. we didn't create any new identity as such, but we revisited our old identity, number one. And number two, we looked at the issue of conserving the great heritage of our community, which runs more than 2,500 years in history. So these are the two major areas which I focused upon in the book.
Okay, sir. Great, sir. Great, sir. And what is the main genre? What kind of things that the book covers, sir?
Well, the book has, as I explained to you, in short, it is revisiting the identity issue of the community. Number two, it aims at conserving the tangible and intangible heritage of the community spread across 21 states in India. That's one. And in the process, it looks at the history of Kayasthas. It looks at the mythologies surrounding Kayasthas. It looks at the legal status of the community in the eyes of law amongst Kayasthas. It looks at the cultural practices of Kayasthas, the rituals that they follow during their death, marriage, and birth. It looks at the brand identity issue of Kayastha. It looks at the food and the cuisine which has a huge interesting range amongst Kayastha, and so on. So there are 15 chapters, and this is not just the collection of big Kayasthas' name. Of course, there are two chapters, one on role of Kayasthas in the freedom struggle, and the other chapter is on illustrious Kayastha, and the chapter is called Hall of Fame. But these are two chapters which are very important, and there you get a range of Kayasthas across the country. But other chapters take you to a wider issues, the deeper issues like migration and stuff. So this is what the book is all about.
Okay, sir. Really, you are doing very good job, sir. And you started off 3 types of Kayasthas in India. Tell us something about Kayasthas in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu.
Surely, Kritika, it will be my pleasure to speak about the Kayasthas in South. But before that, for a bigger picture, for the larger picture, you need to understand the Kayasthas elsewhere. In fact, that should be the beginning point to my mind. And there, broadly, I categorize Kayasthas in 3 categories. One, what I call Chitragupta Vanshiye Kayasthas. Second, what we call Chandraseniye Kayasthas. And third, what we call Chitraseniye Kayasthas. The Chitragupta Vanshiye Kayasthas are mostly in the Hindi states, and also in Tamil Nadu, like Karnigar, if you know. Karnigar in Tamil Nadu, they actually worship Chitragupta Swami. There is a very famous Chitragupta Swami temple in Kanchipuram, and the official custodian of the temple, authorized by the state, by the Tamil Nadu Temple Endowment Board, is a member of the community itself. That's the bylaw there. In addition, I am told that in Tamil Nadu, there are small and big 15 Chitragupta temples. And that itself is an amazing range, because we didn't know this until we got into the deeper part of the Karnagi's world of Chitragupta. That's one. That's the Chitragupta Vanshiye in South. But the second type, which is Chandraseniye Kayas Prabhu, which we call CKPs, they are mostly concentrated in Maharashtra and also partly in Madhya Pradesh, some parts of Madhya Pradesh, and some parts of Gujarat. They are very, very illustrious people in their own right. They are called Chandraseniye Kayas Prabhu because they don't directly worship Chitragupta as an ancestral god as such, but they worship their chief ancestral character called Chandraseni, who was a great king, ancient king that we find in history. There are many important names that you can see among them. I'll come to that later. So this is the major chunk of Western India. The third chunk, if you look at, takes you to the Eastern India, the Bengal. Actually, as on date, Bengal has the biggest chunk of Kayasthas in the country, even today. And there are different shades of Kayasthas in Bengal. There are what we call Maulik Kayasthas. Maulik means original settlers. Then there are Radi Kayasthas. Then there are Kuleen Kayasthas. And there are shades and shades. And the Vaidyas also, though there is a little controversy surrounding that, Vaidyas in Bengal also are Kayasthas, and they have a deeper and very, very intense historical connection with Ambastars elsewhere. I'll come to that when I talk about Ambatars and Ambastars later. So this is the Eastern India, which would majorly in Bengal, also in Assam, also in, say, Odisha, and a bit in Tripura. So broadly, these are three types. Now coming to South, I would focus on Tamil Nadu and also touch upon Karnataka and Andhra and Telangana a bit. But if you look at Tamil Nadu, there are three major categories of Kayasthas that we have been able to focus upon. One is a community called Karnagir. And the Karnagir, as I explained, they worship Chitragupta Swami temple. They are traditionally in the job of what we call Lekhak, that is writer, Ganak, that is accountant, and Shikshak, that is teacher, that you are. So broadly, you will find Karnagirs into these three categories. Of course, with the passage of time, with modernization and diversification of jobs happening, many of them have become doctors, engineers, management gurus, etc., etc. But the primary focus is on these three occupations. Then the second category in Tamil Nadu that we have been able to clearly identify is the Mudaliyars. And Mudaliyars are the richest and the most prosperous community of Tamil Nadu. This category is linked to a wider category called Mathurs of Mathura. Like I forgot to tell you that Karnagirs are connected with the wider category called Karnas in Bihar, who are Korna in Odisha, who are called Karnam in Andhra and Telangana, and who are also called Srishti Karnam. And in Karnataka, they are called Karunika. And of course, in Tamil Nadu, they are called Karunigar. Now we come to the third category, which is the most important category, because the member of that category is actually interviewing me, that is Kritika. This is a category called Ambatars. And Ambatars, let me explain to you the source of how we connected to Ambatar. While we were doing this research, we came across three major scholars. And they're all pan-India level famous people. All the historians know them, all the archaeologists know them. I would like to start with DC Sarkar. DC Sarkar talked about the migration of Ambastars. And then you had BP Sinha. BP Sinha's stature is very big. BP Sinha is a guy whose evidence, archaeological evidence, was picked up by even Supreme Court while deciding Ram Janmabhoomi case. And BP Sinha gave a beautiful trajectory of the migration of Ambastars from south of Kashmir right up to Bihar on the one side and up to Salem and South Travancore on the other side. I'll explain to that separately. But that's the second most important source. The third important source is Chitrarekha, Dr. Chitrarekha Gupta, who was the head of the archaeology department of Calcutta University. And she also talked about the migration of Ambastars from South Kashmir up to Mekala. Now, what is Mekala? Mekala is a region around Ujjain. And Mekala word was used by the Greek historians. And it took us almost 6 months to clearly dissect what exactly Mekala means, which is this location. we realized that they are talking about Mahakala. And Mahakala is a place coming from B.P. Sinha, who talks at length that how they gradually got absorbed. That's the interesting part of history which you see in the book. The book is still in progress. And when thanks to Arun, I would say, when we started by chance, and there I think Chitragupta was very kind to us, that he connected us, and he was very curious to know about Vaidyas. He was curious to know about Ambastas. When I explained to him the Vaidyas history in Bengal, that they were also Ambastas who went there, and when they reached Bengal, they started making medicines and distributing those medicines sitting on elephants. They will go from village to village to village, and they earned a lot of respect amongst people because they were actually serving people without any great commercial interest. So they became very respectable community of Bengal, and they became arrogant too. So the local Kayasta didn't like, and till date, the local Kayasta do not like the Vaidyas. Vaidyas want to be associated with Brahmins. Brahmins don't want to, call them Brahmins. So their position is very peculiar in Bengal. We are trying to sort of address this question. If you look at the debate in Wikipedia, etc., you will realize what kind of a crisis, identity crisis they are undergoing. But since they don't have a pan-India picture, they don't have the knowledge that Vaidyas also are in Maharashtra. General Vaidya, as you know, everybody knows about General Vaidya. He was from the Vaidya community, a Kayas community of Maharashtra from CKP. So in Odisha, there are Vaidyas. In other places, there are Vaidyas. Some people have called themselves Vaidyas. They may not be Ambasta, but still they call themselves Vaidyas, etc. So because they don't get the larger picture, so they are a little confused. I explained all this to Arun at, we cited the Wikipedia, etc. And today, of course, all of you are majorly connected. I'm very happy to say this and share this because like electrical, it has a huge connecting effect. I have today about 10 avatars connected to me over phone, and they are all interested to know about the wider picture of what happened 2,500 years ago.
Super, sir, super. So a lot of information I learned today from you, sir. So these are really very new information for me, and it should be more useful for our future generation.
Yeah.
So, and one more question, sir. In our book, the first page starts with Vivekananda. So that you mentioned he belonged to Kayas community, even Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose also. So could you tell about them, please?
Surely. In fact, in the book, as I told you, there are 2 chapters on big personalities among Kayastas. One is a chapter called Role of Kayastas in the Freedom Struggle. That's chapter 1 chapter. The other chapter is called Hall of Fame. But other than these 2 chapters, in the beginning itself, as you have rightly mentioned, I have taken the inspiration from Vivekananda. Because Vivekananda was from Kayast community. He was Bengali Kayast. He was from the Datta community, and his name was Narendra Dutt, if you know. And he died at a very young age, but at that young age itself, he made such a big name for himself. And right there in Tamil Nadu, where you have a Vivekananda Memorial in Kanyakumari, you go to Almora, you will find his presence. You go to Rajasthan, you will find his presence. You go to Assam, you will find his presence. He was a truly nationalist character, Vivekananda himself. So that's Vivekananda. In very, very modern time, just around freedom struggle, you find another such a great, inspiring character called Subhash Chandra Bose. Who doesn't know Subhash Chandra Bose? And in fact, I would request that those of you who have not actually seen should see the film made by Shyam Benegal on Subhash Chandra Bose. It's called The Unforgettable Hero. It is there on YouTube. You can see it free. And beautifully made film, very nicely documented. you will understand the greatness of the man from Bengal. And mind you, he was Bose. Bose actually were Srivastavas of Kannauj, who migrated from Kannauj to Bengal. And he was given the title of Kulin Kayastha there. Those are given in the book, very interesting part. And the Bose today do not know that they are from Kannauj of UP. So here is a guy who was almost like a lion from Bengal. He went right up to Peshawar, then went to Germany, Germany to Japan, Japan to Burma, and created a consciousness which was, unthinkable today. In fact, they say that he galvanized the spirit in the armed forces, so far as freedom is concerned, because the Britishers realized that if the army, air force, and navy, they are revolting, they can't hold the country anymore. And the last straw, I would think, was that naval revolt. And inspired by what? Inspired by whom? By Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Even his death became such a mystery that till date people are debating whether he died or he didn't die. There are stories about he becoming a Mahatma and he becoming a sage. The people say that so and so Baba is actually Subhash Chandra Bose and so on. And there are so many, you talk about Jayaprakash Narayan, who is the face of non-Congress major politics in India. And he was from Kayast community. Then you see Lalitaditya in the early medieval period. And Lalitaditya's empire actually ranged from Turkey to Nepal and Odisha and down south in India. He is the guy who actually the only king in India who beat up the Turks, the Russians, the Arabs on their own territory. No other king you will find. And so there is a saying that he fought about 100 battles and lost not even one. That was Lalitaditya. He built up struggle. That's one chapter. The other chapter is called Hall of Fame. But other than these two chapters, in the beginning itself, as you have rightly mentioned, I have taken the inspiration from Vivekananda. Because Vivekananda was from Kayast community. He was Bengali Kayast. He was from the Datta community, and his name was Narendra Dutt, if you know. And he died at a very young age, but at that young age itself, he made such a big name for himself. And right there in Tamil Nadu, where you have a Vivekananda Memorial in Kanyakumari. You go to Almora, you will find his presence. You go to Rajasthan, you will find his presence. You go to Assam, you will find his presence. He was a truly nationalist character, Vivekananda himself. So that's Vivekananda. In very, very modern time, just around freedom struggle, you find another such a great, inspiring character called Subhash Chandra Bose. Who doesn't know Subhash Chandra Bose? And in fact, I would request that those of you who have not actually seen should see the film made by Shyam Benegal on Subhash Chandra Bose. It's called The Unforgettable Hero. It is there on YouTube. You can see it free. And beautifully made film, very nicely documented. You will understand the greatness of the man from Bengal. And mind you, he was Bose. Bose actually were Srivastavas of Kannauj, who migrated from Kannauj to Bengal. And he was given the title of Kulin Kayastha there. Those are given in the book, very interesting part. And the Bose today do not know that they are from Kannauj of UP. So here is a guy who was almost like a lion from Bengal. He went right up to Peshawar, then went to Germany, Germany to Japan, Japan to Burma, and created a consciousness which was, unthinkable today. In fact, they say that he galvanized the spirit in the armed forces, so far as freedom is concerned, because the Britishers realized that if the army, air force, and navy, they are revolting, they can't hold the country anymore. And the last straw, I would think, was that naval revolt. And inspired by what? Inspired by whom? by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Even his death became such a mystery that till date people are debating whether he died or he didn't die. There are stories about he becoming a Mahatma and he becoming a sage. The people say that so and so Baba is actually Subhash Chandra Bose and so on. And there are so many, you talk about Jayaprakash Narayan, who is the face of non-Congress major politics in India. And he was from Kayast community. Then you see Lalitaditya in the early medieval period. And Lalitaditya's empire actually ranged from Turkey to Nepal and Odisha and up to down south with India. He's the guy who actually, the only king in India who beat up the Turks, the Russians, the Arabs on their own territory. No other king you will find. And so there is a saying that he fought about 100 battles and lost not even one. That was Lalitaditya. He built up cities. You go to Kashmir. He was a Kashmiri Kayastha of that time, belonged to a dynasty called Karkota dynasty. And you can go and see his capital near Srinagar, which is called Parihaspura even today. He built up many temples, and the biggest sun temple in India, called Martandi Temple, is still there in Kashmir, Anantnag district of Kashmir. So there are very, very big characters, and one of the major challenges that I faced in this book, whom to exclude. There were so many people, and till date, a lot of people complain, you have left him, you have left her, and I keep puzzled. So I devised a way of explaining. I said that, look, this is an illustrative list. This is not an exhaustive list. Illustrative list means you can still add and add and add. So I had to explain people like this that, look, I never claimed that it's the last word, it's the last list. It's an illustrative list, not an exhaustive list. So this is the big picture of big people amongst Kayasthas in India. Then on the other side, you have General Vaidya from CKP community. You have, great general of Shivaji like Mr. Deshpande. So each, what I'm trying to say, if you go to down south, you have a Ramalingam. I mean, the temple itself, the entire half the Tamil Nadu worships that temple till date. You go to Shankar, Assam, Shankar Dev. I mean, he created such an impact, reformed the society in such a way that till date people don't get into the room where his statue is kept with shoes. That's the kind of respect he enjoys amongst their own people. They were all Kayasthas. They were all Kayasthas. Swami Vivekananda was a Kayastha. Swami Shraddhananda Saraswati was a Kayastha. Swami Yogananda was a Kayastha. So whether it is spirituality, or it is royalty, or it is science, or it is politics, or they are in Bollywood, they are there. And if you look at the book, then you will realize, my God, these are all Kayasthas. We didn't know. They give you a sense of pride when you look at them, and their contributions were immense, and some of them were absolutely the top 10 ancient universities in India. 4 of them were built up by Kayasth kings. If you look at Vikramshila University of today, if you look at the 2 universities in Bangladesh, if you look at Balavi University in Gujarat, and even Nalanda's renovation, not the construction, renovation, they were all done by Kayastha kings. So you can understand the contribution they made in the realm of education. Then the scripts, there are 4 major scripts in India. Currently the government of India's official script is Devanagari. Devanagari came out of a Bhatnagar king in Kangra, which is used officially across the country. Then Assam, there is a Kathli script. Proto-Bangla is a script. These are all contributed under the patronage of Kayasth kings. So their contributions are mind-boggling. And only when you start relating to what they did, what they contributed, you realize what a great heritage you and I carry.
So thank you so much, sir. And what is the price of the book and how to buy it, sir?
Yeah, this is interesting, Kritu, because it also serves our interest as a publisher. The price of the book is rupees 3,000 in Hindi and also in English.
Okay, sir.
Now, if you want to buy the book, there are two ways. One, there is a website called www.kayastencyclopedia.com. I repeat, www.kayasth encyclopedia encyclopedia.com. kayastencyclopedia.com. That's the name of the website. If you go to the homepage of this website, there is a tab called Buy Now. So you have to press that button, and then they will take your address, they will take your mobile number, etc., etc. And finally, it comes to payment. You make the payment of 3,000, and immediately next day or a day after that, once the money is transferred, we courier it through very, very prominent courier agencies. We have hired 3 of them. So they take the book to your door. So it comes to your house within a week. That's one way. The second way is that those who do not want to explore this, they can go to the Amazon.com, look for Kayast Encyclopedia, and there also the book is there in Hindi and English, and they can order there also. The difference is that perhaps there you have to pay the shipment cost. If you buy directly, the shipment is free. If you buy directly through the website, the shipment is free. If you buy through the Amazon, maybe you have to pay the shipment cost also, which is not much, yet it is there. So there are 2 ways you can buy this book. Still, if you have difficulty, you can always contact Kiru, because she is your daughter, your sister. And also Arun is your brother sitting right there. Their numbers would be not a difficult thing for you to get. And they can connect you immediately and help you in getting the book.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much to spare your precious time with us. And today I know a lot of information about my community, and the migration story is really very excited and very interested, and feeling very proud to be this community, sir. So this is only for you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure, Kiru, my pleasure that you spared your time. And you are a teacher, your words are very important. Once you know the history, you will be sharing it with your students, you will be sharing it with your family members, with your children. So woman knowing all this is very important to me. And I think I'm very privileged that at least has gone to a very responsible hand. I'm also thankful to Arun, who has taken very, very keen interest. And but for his interest, all this connect would not have been possible.
Yes,
So with folded hand, I thank him for this great exercise that he has done. And I really wish that at one day we all unite physically and we celebrate this kind of a great meet after 2,500 years ago. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sir.